Karine Jean-Pierre. And I remember when she was the Biden press secretary, we would talk about some of the things that she said, but we really started to, I think, lay off on this show because it felt like, you know, she just wasn't up for it. And it's different when you're the president versus when you're the press secretary. If the president's brain doesn't work, it's not mean. I have to say it. If the White House press secretary is just not very bright and not very capable, I mean, I'm going to say it, but I don't. I'll tell you this: two things to our credit, but maybe in this business sometimes a bit of a hindrance. I'm not a mean guy, and Clay's not a mean guy. We don't like being mean to anybody. We choose to be as kind as we can be. I think both of us in our own ways. Kindness is different than niceness. I agree with that. Niceness is, oh, I don't want to be offensive, and nice. Kindness is no. I want to treat people. I want to treat people well, and whenever possible, be respectful and good faith and positive in my interactions with my fellow human beings. And so basically, I'm saying like we almost felt bad for Karine Jean Pierre because she was so in and over her head and it was so obvious. And I didn't feel like beating up on her on the show was really. Yeah, we had some fun with it sometimes, but it's very different. Like Weekend at Bernie's Biden, he's the commander in chief, unacceptable. He's a fraudster. He's a liar. The whole thing was disgusting. Karine Jean Pierre is somebody who, like, she was a DEI hire in the sense that she clearly was not up for this job, but she is a lesbian and she is black. And that was very exciting. Those characteristics were very exciting for Democrats to have in a White House press secretary. Now, the conservative view on these things, and you see this with, you've got different people who could be, or rather are, I guess, diversity technically within the Trump administration, whether it's women or Richard Grenell is gay. I mean, there's these people that have worked for Trump at senior level, and it's just about, are they good at the job? And there's not this obsession with the either immutable characteristics or the sexual orientation or anything like this about these individuals. We just pick people, or Trump picks people that he thinks will be really good. And he's put a lot of women, as you've noticed, for example, in senior positions, and these are some tough ladies, and they're showing their competency day in and day out. I mean, everyone, somebody like Caroline Levitt is doing a phenomenal job as White House press secretary, but Karine Jean Pierre she didn't have it. She wasn't very good at this. She was not up to the task, and I actually think that it was clear to a lot of people that that was the case, and so she did not get very much heat from the media. Yes, because she was home team, I understand. And yes, she's a black lesbian and therefore is in the world of identity politics double protected as the left views this, right? If you're a conservative, if you're on the right, you just view people as people and you treat them as people and you expect you hold everyone to the same framework of, are you good at this? Or are you bad at this? Are you doing your job or you're not doing your job? That is the right conservative point of view. The liberal point of view is, well, we're going to pick people for different things. And this goes to a Supreme Court case I'm going to talk about in a second here. But the left wing point of view, the Democrat point of view, we're going to pick people and we're going to tell you they're just as good as anybody else and they're not picked for these reasons, but we're also going to praise them for being these different things. So there's a cognitive dissonance here, right? Like, this is always been the problem with affirmative action, always been the problem with DEI. You can't say we need to give an advantage to people because of skin color, sexual orientation, whatever. But you can't think that we're giving anybody an advantage because of those things. This is the fundamental and the fundamental disconnect. This is the cognitive dissonance. And then they do this thing of, oh, but it's just a little bit. It's just a little bit of a help. Because when you start to corner them on these issues, you find out that it can't hold up. This doesn't make sense. You can't ask somebody, you can't say, I'm picking this person because of A, and then you're not allowed to say I'm picking this person because of A. You can't do that. That does not compute. You're asking us to, believe that up is down, or rather demanding that we believe that up is down. So that's what we saw with Karine Jean-Pierre here. And now she is putting out a book called Independent. Here she is announcing. So she's leaving the Democrat Party. She's not just talking about the Biden administration. She's leaving the Democrat Party. This is cut two. This is how she described the broken White House on Instagram.
I think we need to stop thinking in boxes and think outside of our boxes and not be so partisan. And the way that I see moving forward in this space that we're in right now is if you are willing to stand side by side with me, regardless of your how you identify politically, and as long as you respect the community that I belong to and vulnerable communities that I respect, I will be there with you. I will move forward with you. And that is, I think, so important.
What happened to the Democrat Party? Why is she leaving the Democrat Party? She was the chief spokeswoman for the Biden regime. And now she's an independent? Now she's talking about how it makes no sense. It makes no sense. But what's interesting to me now is this is completely predictable. Now there are Democrat sources that are trashing her all over the place. Oh, she wasn't up for it. She wouldn't let Kirby. Remember Kirby? The white guy from the Pentagon? He was going to do briefings on national security, but she wouldn't let him because he's so much smarter than she is, and it made her insecure, so he wasn't allowed to. And now everyone's talking about this. I'm sorry. When you propagate the lie because it is worth it for you to do so, you don't get to turn around and pretend you're a hero when it doesn't matter anymore. And this is really the whole situation of what's going on now with some of these, whether it's Tapper or Karine Jean-Pierre. There's going to be others too. Now all of a sudden, they're trying to tell you that they've had this big change of heart. They see what's going on. Why won't they reach out to people like me, for example, and say, you were right. I don't just mean me, but, people on the right in general. Why would they say they were right? And I should really think about why they were right. And I should think about why I lied publicly, speaking from the Democrat perspective, why they lied about things when they just had to know everything they were saying was nonsense. And what does that say about their character? What does that say about their integrity? It means they have no integrity. They have no integrity at all. Here you go. Who cares? Congressional Dems say good riddance to Karine Jean-Pierre. This is from Axios. Democrat lawmakers say who cares? Here we go. Her explanation for this move is as confusing and disjointed as her answers in the White House press briefing. Democrats are trashing her now and basically saying she's an idiot. That's what they're saying. She never was up for it, never could do it. So they put a black lesbian in this role. Tell us it's amazing. Tell us they didn't do it, though, because she's a black lesbian. They say they just did it because she's so good at the job. And we say, but she's not good at the job. And they say, how dare you? She's good at the job. And now that the whole thing has fallen apart, the administration's done, they lost, it's, oh, no, she was an idiot all along. And the only reason she had the job was because she's a black lesbian and Democrats are obsessed with DEI. And that is what Democrats are saying. So everything that we tell you on this show about what's going on, you'll notice, true. The things that we say, we just keep getting more affirmation of, and we said it all along. The other side has to keep trying to find ways to explain to their audience, to their voters, why they lie and why they're wrong about everything. You could say this is a trend. You could say this is an indicator of something. And now I'm going to come back and speak about the Supreme Court decision that just came down. It turns out you can't discriminate. You can't say I'm firing you and hiring a lesbian because she's a lesbian. This is a real case. This just happened. That this is wrong. Of course it's wrong. It's always been wrong. But it was also always wrong to hire somebody because they were a black lesbian or an Eskimo or whatever. It's always been wrong to do that. It was never okay to do this thing that was done for a long time. And now the courts agree with me. Now, if any of you out there are fired so they can hire a minority or a trans individual or whatever, you can sue because it's wrong. Let's talk about this. Let's come back to this sanity shortly here. Restoration of sanity. Product innovation means so much in business, and rapid radios are a perfect example of this. They are next level, modern day walkie talkies that allow you to connect with anyone anywhere in the US via a nationwide LTE network. They're fun to use, and the voice quality is fantastic. And rapid radios don't require any setup. You just pull them out of the box, press a button, and talk. It's one touch connection, perfect for busy families. Nationwide LTE coverage. Rapid radios are 100% private, no monthly fees or subscriptions. Rapid radios have helped my family stay in touch, including after that big hurricane in North Carolina. They can help yours too. Visit rapidradios.com, save up to 60%, get free UPS shipping from Michigan, and use code radio for an extra 5% off. That's code radio. Order today, rapidradios.com, code radio.